Hello and welcome to yet another edition of our tutorial. This is the second session. So as you know the drill, we wait for 10 minutes so we can start by 8 o'clock sharp. So for people to be able to join in. So please join in and hang on with us and we'll begin the tutorial soon. Okay. Now it is time for us to begin our class. So today we'll be taking the topic on Venn diagram. So it is a continuation of elementary of set theory that we treated in the last session. So what we are going to encourage you, if you haven't, please, the link to the video of the first session we had will be dropped in the comment section. So go back and watch the other session after this, and also we will make this video too available for you to watch in case you are unable to join us live. So permit me to welcome our tutor for today now. Let me welcome Mr. Ashaolu.
You are welcome to the platform. So we are going to continue from where we stopped. We are going to continue from where we stopped. So, in our last class, we discussed elementary of set theory. But today, we are going to discuss Venn diagram. Venn diagram. But I must let you know, I must tell you, if you don't have the idea of elementary of set theory, if you don't have the elementary idea of this so-called set, then I must tell you, you are beginning to create problems. So I would like you to go and watch the video of my last class so you can just try and understand what I am going to say in this class. Or just try and listen here. I will briefly go through what I have done before. Just a brief explanation. So we are taking Venn diagram. But in our last class, I heard that some of us were complaining you can't see what is here. So I think I'll take that briefly again. So set theory. Now, I've talked about sets, types of sets. I've talked about types of sets, some sets you need to know, and we have solved some kind of problem, some little problem under set theory. But today, that was a question I gave Daddy. Let me quickly go through it again. So let me just assume, I want to assume because I can't really get that same question. So given that, let's take that example once again. That will be the example I'm going to start with for today. Example 1. Given that the universal set is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, let's take it to 9. Then a set A is equal to 1, 3, 5, 7, and 8. Then another set B is equal to 2, 4, 6, 7, and 9. Then I said I've done some kind of problem, find A intersection B. 2, find A union B. 3, find A complement. We've done that before. Just briefly, B complement. And let's go to the real work. A minus B. I hope you all can see this. Now let's take them one after the other. I'll just take this one quickly. But this is the main one I think you guys did not get that day. So what is your A intersection B? Don't forget from our previous definition, from our last class, in our previous class, we told, or you are all told what intersection means. I said intersection of two sets A and B is that element that is common to what? Both sets A and set B. Now, let's look at these two sets. Don't forget, I said this is a set denoted with capital letter. Then all these are what? Elements contained in this set. Is it that you call them elements or you call them what? Member. You call them member of set A or element of set A. Look at all this. We call them member of set B or element of set B. Now, how then do I find my A intersection B? Check out for common terms. Terms that you can see in set A and also in set B. Now, let's check out. You have 1 in set A. Do I have 1 in set B? No. So 1 is not common. I have 3 in set A. Do I have 3 in set B? No, it's not so common. I have 5 in set A. Do I have 5 in set B? No. I have 7 in set A. I also have 7 in set B. So I have 7 as one common term, isn't it? I have 8 in set A. No 8 in set B. I have 9 in set B. No 9 in set A. So automatically the only common terms, the only common element we are having here is what? 7. I hope that is clear. The next thing is our A union B. Don't forget, A union B, the union of two sets A and B are those what? Elements in set A or set B or both of them. Elements you can see here or both of them. So I would have that to be what? We are going to list all the elements of set A and set B. Everything. So I will have 1, Abby. I have 2 in set B. I have 3. I have 4. I have 5. 6. 7, 7. You just write 1. I have 8. I have 9. So these are my what? My A union B. I hope you all understand what I have just done. So the next one is our A complement. A complement. So what is my A complement? Just go. The complement of a set. Set A. Let's take set A as a case study. The complement of a set A is those elements that are not in A but in the universal set. So let's check out. Go to your universal set. Now check out those elements that are not here but here. If you look at 1 is in set A and also in the universal set, isn't it? Or let's go to the universal set, and all the elements that are not in A but in the universal set are those elements in our what? A complement. So I'll go to universal set now. I have 1 as the first element. Is 1 in set A? Yes. So 1 is not part of my element of A complement. Is 2 in set A? Is 2 in the universal set? Yes. Now check out. Is 2 in the set A? No. So automatically 2 is part of our element in A complement. Let's check out. The next one is 3. 3 is in set A. So 3 is not part of element of A complement. You have 4. Abi, no 4 in A. So 4 is part. 5 is part. 6. Abi, so you don't have 6 here. So 6 is part of them. 7 is part. Abi, I can't pick 7. 8, you can't pick 8. 9, yes, you can pick 9. So these are my what? My A complement. Elements you can see in the universal set but not in set A. So the next thing is our B complement. B complement. So the same thing here. Elements that are in the universal set but not in what? Set B. So I have 2 in set B. Go to your universal set. Check out. Do I have 2 in the universal set? Yes. Remove. First start with the universal set. Now check out. 1 is in the universal set but not in set B. Isn't it? So 1 is part of the element. 2 is in the universal set but is also in set B. So it's not part of it. 3 in the universal set, not in set B. 3 is part. 4 in the universal set, not in set B. Sorry, is in set B. So 4 is not part. 5 is part, Abi. Followed by what? 6 is not part of it. 7 is not part. 8 is part. 8 is part. 9 is not part of it. So these are my element of what? B complement. Now the last one we are going to take is the A minus B. Now that day I told you that this A minus B here is the same thing as A intersection B complement. You can verify that. But after finding, I'll find my A minus B now. So what is my A minus B? Now go to set A. Go to your set A. All you need to do is remove all the elements in set B from set A. I have 1 in set A, 3, 5, 7, 8. Now any elements that are in set B would be removed from here. Anyone that is here would be removed from here. So 2 is not here already. 4 is not there. 6 is not there. 7 is there. So I will remove 7 from the set A. 9, 8 is not there. So the only element, I'll be left with will be what? A 1, 3, 5, and 8. 1, 3, 5, and 8. Simply because I need to remove what? 7 that is in set B. 7 in set B from this set A. So if I remove 7 here, I'm left with what? 1, 3, 5, and 8. Look at set B. Set B has 2, 4, 6, 7, and 9. The only element I have here to be common is 7. So I will remove 7 from there. I'm left with what? 1, 3, 5, and 8. That's my A intersection B complement, otherwise known as A minus B. So now, let's now go to the real work of the day. Venn diagram. Venn diagram. Now you must know there's this man named John Venn. You hear people saying John Venn, John Venn, John Venn. It was the one that gave all these things that we are doing, all this Venn diagram of a scene. It was the one who discovered it and said, okay, what if I am given something and I am asked to represent it in using a diagram? So what if I am given such and I am asked to represent it? So that was when he came about saying, there's something like Venn diagram. He came about that. He said, okay, if I am given a data and have to represent it using a diagram, how do I go about it? That's what will lead us to what we call Venn diagram. Venn diagram. Now there are some things you need to know. All these are our intersection, union, complements. You can also transform them using Venn diagram. Can transform them to a diagram. You can put them in a diagrammatic way. You can put them in a diagram. So how do we transform those things? Now, you should know, I said my A intersection B. You can represent this A intersection B using a Venn diagram. Using Venn diagram, you can represent this. Now, how do I represent this thing here? I am dealing with two sets. Set A and set B. Now let me call this my set A and this my what? My set B. Now how then do I represent my A intersection B on this? My A intersection B is that, don't forget from the definition of intersection, element common to both what? Set A and set B. So my A intersection B is going to be this region. This region, the shaded region, is my A intersection B. I hope that is clear. It's my A intersection B. It's my A intersection B. Okay, let me shade it with a different marker so you can get what I'm trying to say. Now I want to shade the region of A intersection B. This is the region of A intersection B. I hope that is clear. So this is my region of what? A intersection B. A intersection B. The next one is the what? The A union B. A union B. Let me call this my set A, also my set B. Now, what would then be the region of A union B? My A union B would then be what? This region. The shaded region is my A union B. Don't forget, all the elements in set A and set B is my what? A union B. Isn't it? So you shade all the region. Shade all the region. Shade all the region. That's my A union B. This is my A union B. How that's the region of A union B. Now to the next one, my A complement. A complement. You have a single set. So now, what will be the region of A complement or A prime? So let's call it A. Okay, let's call it A complement. So the region of A complement will be this. That's my region of A complement. That's the region of A complement. That's the region of A complement. Now, this is A intersection B. This is A union B. This is A complement. Now, there's also one thing. You can also shade A minus B on this same plane. So let's shade the region of A minus B. There are some others. There are more of these things you can. So what will be the region of A minus B here? Don't forget, A minus B is the same thing as what? A intersection B complement. So the region of A minus B would be my A alone. That's the region of A minus B. So that is that about diagram on those types of sets we have mentioned. Now let's begin some little problem, some basic problem. Example 1. Now I will need you all to hold your calculator, because we are going to be operating with our calculators now. Little calculators, normal little things we have to do. Now let's take example 1. Now since you understand the basic of all these things, I will give you some example. So example 1. In a class of 50 students, 30 study biology and 25 study economics. 25 study economics, 15 study neither of the two subjects, neither biology 15 study neither biology nor economics. 15 study neither biology or economics. Question A. How many take both biology and economics? B. How many take biology only? C. How many take economics only? So now let's solve the problem together. We are told that we need the next part of the board to solve this problem. So I would like you to listen very well, please. Now listen so you can understand. Get what you need to get now. Solution. Now look at this question. We want to represent this whole question on a Venn diagram. Don't forget. Now just check out. We are dealing with this a two set. We have people studying biology and economics, isn't it? And we have our what? Our universal set. That's the total number of people present in that place. How many students do we have in that class? 50 students in that class. Now we are talking about the class. We are being precise. The class. Now in that class, we are not talking about people studying what people study in that class. So now let's look at it. We are told that 30 students study what? Biology. Let me denote biology with letter B. Letter B. Isn't it? Let me denote biology with what? Letter B. Capital letter B. And let me denote economics with capital letter E. And you're also giving the what? The universal set. The total number of students in that class. You know how you're always denoting the universal set, something like this. I mean, now you are told that what? There are 50 students in that class. That is my universal set. I hope you can see these things. I hope you can see that. So there are 50 students. Let me take a different marker so you can see that very well. There are 50 students in that class, isn't it? Now you are told that 30 students study biology. Biology 30. Now you don't write in here because this thing, I will explain why you are not writing here, why you need to write here. Now you are also told that 25 study what? Economics. Economics 25, isn't it? Now, how many students? You are also told that 15 study neither biology nor economics. Neither biology nor economics. So 15 did not do all these things. They did not do biology, they did not do economics. They are just outside, they are just in the class. You get that now? So how many students take these two subjects? Now you must know that when I say a student study biology, it does not simply mean that student did not do economics. I am only telling you that this person study biology. But there is a difference between study biology and study biology only. There is a difference. What's the difference? Those out of this number of students that takes both that you are looking for now, there are still some students in here that are still doing what? Economics. So that is why you don't write this one. You have not gotten the actual number of people that study biology. You get that now? So to get the number of people, now let me denote, let the number of students that study both biology and economics be X. Now, if the number of students that study both biology and economics is X, I will have X, isn't it? Now, if the number of students that study both biology is X, so what would then be the number of students that study biology only? Biology only. Like I said, out of this X number of students, there are some students that study what? Out of these 30 students here, there are still some students that are still doing economics out of them. You get that now? So to get the number of students that do only biology, that will be what? Your 30 minus X. To also get the number of students that study economics only, this will give you 30 minus X. Economics only, that gives you what? 25 minus X. I hope that is clear. Now, to get the number of students that takes both biology and economics, I think the answer is already there. So I would have what? I would have 30 minus X. That's the number of people that study only biology, plus those that study both biology and economics. I would have it to be X, plus the number of students that study only economics. That's what? 25 minus X. Don't forget, 15 people are still here. They are not doing anything, but they are in the class. So you are still going to include them. Because you must know that if you had the total number of all these things you have here, it must sum up to what? 50 students. If your answer is greater than 50 or less than 50, then everything you have done is not correct. Simply because you are already told there are 50 students in that class. So when you sum the number of students that do only biology, the number of students that does both biology and economics, and the number of students that do what? Only economics, also with the number of students that are not doing anything, it must sum up to what? 50 students. It must sum up to 50. So I would have 30. This is minus X, minus 1X. This is plus 1X. Minus 1 plus 1. You cancel out that. You are left with 0. So I'm left with what? A 30 plus 25. So don't forget, punch 30 plus 25 on your calculator. I believe you should be having what? A 55. I hope you all have gotten that. The next one is, don't forget there's another plus here. Plus 15. Punch your 15 on that same calculator. You will be having a what? A 70. Don't forget, this must be equal to what? The total number of students, 50. If you punch this, you should be having what? A 70, Now this is a negative X minus X, is equal to what? 50. You punch 30, 25, 15. You have 70. Minus X is equal to 50. Now I am looking for X. I am asked to find X. Now let's find X together. I would have, bring this to the other side. You have minus X is equal to what? 50 minus 70. So minus X will be what? A minus 20, isn't it? Now to remove X from both sides, is that you divide both sides by minus 1, and you have what? Divide both sides by minus 1. So X will be what? A 20. So how many students study both biology and economics? Now you have 20 students. So 20 students study what? Both biology. Study both biology and what? Economics. Both biology and economics. Now don't forget, the question still is, we still have something there. How many students take biology only? I've already explained that here. Just go back to your biology only. Don't forget, you are giving biology only to be what? 30 minus X. Now remove X here. You have found X to be what? 20 already. So I would have that to be what? 30 minus what? 20. Which will give me what? A 10. So 10 students study biology only. biology only. Biology only. Another thing we have to find is what? How many students study economics only? Economics only. That will be what? Go back to that. Economics only is giving us what? 25 minus x. You already have your x to be what? 20. That will be what? 25 minus 20, which gives you what? 5 students. Now what you will do, sum up everything. Those that do biology only, with those that are doing what? Economics, with those that are doing both subjects, then with those that are not doing anything. It must sum up to what? 50 students. You have 10 plus 5 plus what? 20. That gives you what? 35. Plus the number of students that are not doing anything, you have it to be what? 50. So automatically you have a very correct problem, correct question, and a correct answer. I hope that is clear. Now let's go to our example 2. Example 2 now. In a committee of 30 members, in a committee of 30 members, 20 speak Yoruba and 15 speak Igbo. Full stop. If 8 speak both language, how many speak Roman figure 1 neither language? 2, at least one language. 3, only one language. Solution, pick up your calculator once again. Solution. Now, you are told that in a committee of what? 30 members, 20 speak Yoruba, 15 speak Igbo. Let's draw the Venn diagram. Isn't it? Now let's denote Yoruba with Y, Igbo with I, isn't it? Now you are told that there are 30 members in that committee, so your universal set is what? 30. Your universal set is 30. Abi? Now you're also told that there are 20 of them speak what? Yoruba. 20 speak Yoruba. Not that word Yoruba. There's difference between Yoruba and Yoruba only. There's difference between Igbo and Igbo only. And what? 15 speak Igbo. Now you also told that what? 8 speak both languages. These are the number. This is both languages still means intersection of the two languages, isn't it? That means, don't forget, that is why I started with that your A intersection union, complements, and whatever. So now, the number of students that speak both languages are what? 8, isn't it? That will be put here. This is their intersection, those that speak both languages. This is the region of those that speak what? Both languages, isn't it? Now, how do I then get the number of students that speak only Yoruba? Only Yoruba. Yoruba only. Very simple. Don't forget from our previous example. That will be what? A 20 minus those that speak both language. 8. Don't forget, out of these 8 people here, there are some people that are still speaking what? Igbo. Isn't it? Out of these 20 people, sorry, there are some people that are speaking Igbo there. So that will be what? A 12. Now, those that speak Igbo only, that will be what? 20 minus 8. That gives you a 12. Then Igbo only. That will be what? 15 minus 8. Isn't it? That gives you what? A 7. I hope that is clear. Now let's find the number of students that does not speak both languages. You know, out of this class, we will still have some people that will not speak Yoruba and will still not speak Igbo. They are neutral people. Neutral man. You get? So now, let's find the number of people that speak neither language. Very simple. Don't forget, this will give you what? 12. The addition of all this, that will be 12 plus those that speak both languages, 8, isn't it? Plus those that speak Igbo only, 7, plus those that are outside that are not doing anything. Let's denote them with X. Let's call them X. If we call them X, they are not doing anything, but they are still in that committee. Is equal to what? The total number of people in the committee, which are what? 30. The number that does what? Yoruba only. Number that does both Yoruba and Igbo. Number that does what? Igbo only. Plus those that are not doing anything but still in that committee. So that will be what? 12 plus 8. That gives you what? A 20. Plus 7, you have what? 27. I hope that is clear. Plus what? X is equal to what? 30. So I would have, therefore, I would have what? X to be equal to what? 30 minus what? 27. And your X would be, your X would be, so my X is going to be what? A 3, isn't it? So 3 people, you know what? Speak both Yoruba and Igbo. So now, if 3 people do not speak both Yoruba and Igbo, then how many people speak at least one language? At least one language. This word is mostly used in probability. At least, at most. Now, when you hear at least, what does that mean? It simply means, when I say at least one, it simply means from 1 upward. When I say, when I say at least 5, it simply means from 5 upward. When I say at most 5, from 5 downward. So the number of students that speak at least one language. So those that speak one language, Igbo only, Yoruba only, they will be included. So I would have the number of students that speak at least one language will be what? Will be equal to those that speak Igbo only. Igbo only is one language, isn't it? 12, plus those that speak both language, because both language are included too. Because we are talking about at least one language. That means from one language or more than one language. So I would have what? 8. That's those that speak 2 languages. Plus those that speak Igbo only, 7. Now I will not include these 3. Because these 3, they are not doing anything. So they are 0. We can't include it. They are speaking none of the language. So I would have what? A 12 plus 8. That gives you what? A 20, isn't it? Plus 7, you have what? 27. So 27 people does not speak at least, speaks what? At least one language. The next one is only one language. Only one language. Only one language. Those that speak only one language. Yoruba only is one language. Igbo only is one language. This one is not one language, this is two language. They speak both Yoruba and Igbo. So this one is not included. We are going to have what? Only one language, Yoruba only, isn't it? This one is not one language, isn't it? This is two language, so we can't include this. We are talking about one language here. This is one language, Igbo only, plus 7. Isn't that so? We can also include these 3 because this one they are not speaking anything. So that will be what? 19 people. So 19 people speaks only one language. Why this one? 27 people speak at least one language. That is that about problem 2. Let's go to the next one quickly. It's about time. Now the problem is becoming harder, because the next problem we are going to take is one kind, I would say, a bit different from these ones we have been taking. Example 3. In a science class, in a science class, 18 students read physics, 25 students read maths, and let me say 25 read mathematics, 25 read chemistry, 9 read physics and mathematics. 10 read mathematics and chemistry. Mathematics and chemistry. And 6 read physics and chemistry. Full stop. If there were 50 students, all together, and 5 students did not read any of the 3 subjects, how many students read how many students read Roman figure 1, all the 3 subjects. 2 another 2, only mathematics. Only mathematics 3, chemistry but not mathematics. 4 for physics and chemistry, but not mathematics. Physics and chemistry, but not mathematics. Okay, solution. Let's have it there. Okay, now I would like to okay then. We'll have something like this. Like this. Now you see that we are talking about 3 subjects here: physics, mathematics, and chemistry. So your Venn diagram will be in 3 sections. So now you are told that let me denote physics with P, mathematics with M, chemistry with C. Now you are told that 18 students read what? Physics. So physics 18. Then 25 read mathematics. 25, isn't it? 25 also read chemistry. Isn't it? Then 9 reads what? Physics and mathematics. Where is the region of physics and mathematics? This is physics, this is math. This is their intersection. Physics and mathematics, that's what? 9 students, isn't it? Now 10 reads what? Mathematics and chemistry. This is mathematics, this is chemistry. This is their region. You have 10, have it? Now lastly, 6 reads what? Physics and chemistry. This is physics, this is chemistry. So you have 6. Isn't that so? Now the question now continues. If there were 50 students altogether, that's my universal set, 50, isn't it? Now, and 5 students did not read any of these 3 subjects. So I'll put my 5 outside this whole diagram, outside the so-called circle. Now, how many students read the 3 subjects? Read all the 3 subjects. Now, let me denote, let the number of students that reads all the 3 subjects. Let the number of students that read all the 3 subjects be X. Let's denote them with S. So let's call this part X. So now, don't forget this one too, there's a difference. There's a difference between mathematics and chemistry only and mathematics and chemistry. There's also a difference between physics and mathematics only and physics and mathematics. There's a difference between physics and chemistry only and physics and chemistry. Now, to get the number of people that study only physics and mathematics, you remove that from that's your intersection. The 3 of them, P intersection M intersection C. So that will be what? 9 minus X. To get the number of students that study only mathematics and chemistry, that will be what? 10 minus X as well. Number of students that study physics and chemistry only, minus X. I hope that is clear now. So now, don't forget, this one becomes, to get the number of students that study only physics or physics only, okay. Number of students that study physics only will be what? 18, isn't it? Subtract this, that gives you what? That gives you 18 minus 9, minus 6. That will be 18 minus 9, isn't it? Minus 6. And that's what? 18 minus 9 minus 6. That gives you what? That's 18 minus 15, isn't it? That will be what? A 3. Isn't it? That's a 3 plus x plus those that do the 3 subjects. Also, to get the number of students that study only mathematics, the same thing. 25. Don't forget, look at this one. This one, study physics. Physics is included here. Likewise, physics is also included here. That's why I decided to pick these two. Why I did not join this. And this was included also. So that's why I did not join this, sorry. Now, to get the number of students that study only mathematics, you will include physics and chemistry. Only mathematics, that will be what? 25 minus 9 minus 10. Minus 9 minus 10. That gives you what? 25 minus 19. That's a what? That's a 6. 6, Abby, plus the number of students that does the 3. To get the number of students that study only chemistry, that will be what? The same thing. 25 minus 6 minus 10. That will give you, that's 25 minus 16. Isn't it? That will give you 9 plus x. I hope you know how we got this 3, 6, and 9. 18, 9, 6, 25, 6, 10. Have it? So that is that. So now let's find the number of students that study all the 3 subjects. So that will be what? That will be the number of students that study all the 3 subjects will then be what? Now let's go. This is what? A 3 plus x. Add everything together. You should know their addition, all of them. When you sum them up, it should be equal to what? 50 students. That will be 3 plus x plus what? 9, minus x. The next one, plus 6 plus x. The next one, plus x. Isn't it? The next one, plus 6 minus x. Isn't it? The next one, plus 10 plus minus x, sorry. The next one, plus 9 plus x. Isn't it? Now you also told that 5 students are outside here. Plus 5 students, isn't it? Must be equal to what? 50. That's the total number of students. So now, let's quickly find x. This will cancel this. That is plus x and minus x. They cancel out. I'm left with what? This is another 1x. This is another 1. This will also cancel out. This is 1. This is 1. They will also cancel out. Now I'm left with what? 3 plus 9. Punch that out. That will give you a 12. Isn't it? You have a 12. 12 plus another 6. You have 18. Isn't it? 18 plus, go move, plus 6 again. You have what? 24. Move again. Plus what? 10. That's 24 plus 10. That gives you what? A 34. Isn't it? Move again. Plus a 9. That's 34 plus a 9. That gives you what? 40. You have 34. You have 9. You have 9. That gives you what? A 43. Isn't it? 43 plus 5. That gives you what? 43 plus 5. That gives you what? A 48. Isn't it? So I will have what? 48. Isn't that so? Now check out. I'm left with 1x there. That's a plus x. Plus x. Isn't it? Is equal to what? 50. I hope that is clear. Now we have x is equal to what? A 50 minus 48. So the number of students that does the 3 subjects is now what? 2. So we have 2 students doing all this physics, maths, and chemistry. Try adding up 3, 9, 12, plus 6, 18, plus 6 again, 24, plus 10, 34, plus 9, 34 plus 9, 6 and 3. That's 43 plus 5, you have 48. I hope you are clear. So that is that. So let's quickly round that up. Okay. So to find the number of students that does only mathematics only now. Mathematics only, that will be what? Come to mathematics here. You already have this, Abi. So mathematics only will be what? 3 plus, this is math, this is physics, this is math, this is what? Chemistry. So mathematics only will be what? 6, Abi. Plus, now instead of writing x, it will be what? 2. That gives you what? There are 8 students doing mathematics only. The next one is the so-called problem. So thank you and God bless you.
We thank you very much, Mr. Shaolu, once again for helping us to learn Venn diagram. Yes, I believe the class was very explanatory enough. So we noticed that we do not have many people online. So as usual, we are going to make the recording available. We are going to make it available on Facebook and on YouTube. So we'll drop the link in our WhatsApp group for you to be able to watch the class again. Also, information reached us that there are some students in second semester already. So we decided to do something for students in second semester already. So tomorrow, we have decided to treat a topic from second semester and we are going with vector. Yes, so come tomorrow at the same time, which is 7:50. We are going to open the group and by 8 we'll begin the class for vector. I'll be taking that one in particular. So we really appreciate, as usual, help us to share. It's a free lesson, so why not? Please share with your people and let them come in and come and gain knowledge. So we really appreciate the time you have spent with us. And from what we discussed, we are going to send assignments. Yeah, we are going to send an assignment to the platform. So if you want, after solving, if you don't understand or you want to send it back to us so that we can grade it, you are welcome. Yes, you can do that. So assignments, if you wish, you can submit back to us. We say thank you very much for joining us. Don't forget, invite people to join us. All right, have a nice day. Thank you.